Okay, let's start the lesson today. So last week we were just discussing about our second lesson, which is actually about classification of animals, right? So under that we discuss about invertebrates. So invertebrates are basically, they are not having vertebral column, and then we discuss about the vertebrates. So vertebrates, like, actually why we are calling them vertebrates, because they are having vertebral column, right? So we consider the animals having vertebral column. So basically but actually this is what most of the people describe. So when there is a vertebral column, we consider those animals are more intelligent than those who are not having vertebral column. But so still that is actually a relative factor, right? So because there are different subclasses, groups, phylums, different subcategories. So therefore the comparison should be in that level, right? Okay, let's move to the topic that we were discussing last day in your book. So that I think we started discussing about this, the animals having vertebral column. So these animals are called vertebrates or vertebrates, right? So then I think we learn about the main category. So that is, so fishes, like fishes actually. So here these animals are categorized because of, actually mainly we consider about their living habitat. What is the living habitat of fishes? So where they live? What is the living habitat? What is the habitat? The places. Yes, you can see mostly these are fishes. So they live in water. They live in water. So remember that the first category fishes. So basically fish. This is group of animal. So they adapted. They live in water. So those, they are fully, their entire life cycle is they are in water, right? Their eggs, maybe the small fishes, and when they grow up, when they become adults, all these time throughout the life cycle, they live in water. So that is the nature. So there are some examples: tilapia, steak, shark, bluefin tuna. So they are categorized under this category. Okay, so we need to learn about, so they are actually features or the characteristics, right? Here these are given in the book. So let's go to the slides back. Can you see the slides?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, here fish officers, they live in water. They have gills. Gills means, what are the gills? Gills we learned last day. Gills means, yes,
Caramel?
oh, breath in, no, caramel. For breath in, they have gills, right? And they are actually scales and fins on their body. What is scale? Scales and fins. Yes. Other than that, caramel, husmagan, scales and fins on their bodies. What you can see outside the body? Yes. Outside of the body? Yes.
Porokotu?
Yes. Basically, it is covered with scales, right? That is, you can tell in Sinhala it's Koropatu. Fins means varal, right? Okay, why fins are used? Because they can swim through the water and to balance in the water, because water, it's like, it's always like floating for some, it's moving some direction. No, it's not actually, it's not like solids are not moving. So we can say when you are in a solid environment, let's say you are on top of the soil, or let's say you're on top of land somewhere. So basically we can consider, but still that is moving, because Earth is moving, therefore it's also moving. But the thing is, so relatively you can, so you and you and the Earth surface both moving in the same speed, no? Therefore you cannot feel any movement. So you don't want to worry much about that, but think about you are swimming, think that you are swimming in a river or ocean or somewhere, then it is not such stable environment. It's always moving. So it's difficult to stay, right? Even we jump into a river, or even we jumped into ocean or sea, it is difficult to stay stay calm, because these waves are moving here and there. So the environment is not such stable. Actually, they use fins. So if you need, you can write down this singular wordings, but I don't know whether you need it. But these are the features, like, so they are using, their body is covered with scales because for the protection actually. And they're having fins. Why fins are there? For balancing as well as for swimming. And their body is adapted. So we call invariably streamlined. Invariably streamlined means something like this. So the body is invariably streamlined means, so you can see this curvy shape. We call that anakula hedaya. This curvy shape. This is called invariably streamlined. They have this shape. So when there is actually this shape is maintained, it's very easy to move. It is very easy to swim through. That is why they maintain this shape. Actually, so if you know how planes and all created in these aeroplanes, you can see the same kind of, even the birds, they are having this invariably streamlined shape. Birds are having invariably streamlined shape. And also think about helicopter, and think about plane. Plane will have the same thing. It's also helicopter or plane. So I cannot draw properly, but just think. So it also has that invariably streamlined shape. And think about a vehicle even. So think about a car. So if you take a car is also it's really awful drawing. Okay, let's try to draw some car, right? But you can see if this is a car, I have to name it actually. Okay, so it also has this invariably streamlined shape. The reason is then the airflow moves easily. Airflow moves easily, and it's easy to move through the air, right? It's easy to maintain the speed. Otherwise, it's really difficult, because if it is a flat surface like this, the wind is directly hitting the surface. So you can see the wind directly hitting the surface means it's difficult to maintain the speed. Even buses and all have this kind of right shape. It is not recommended. It is, now you can see the coaches and all. So coach has like slightly, coaches are those are also maintaining this invariably streamlined shape. But buses mostly it's very difficult to see, but lorries, trucks, most of the things they are maintaining this invariably streamlined shape. So please remember that from the real world examples and as well as the man-made examples both. So this feature is needed. Why? That is really helping them swimming through the water. Okay. Scales are important for their protection in their environment, because they are actually exposed to that environment, and also there are enemies. So maybe that can be used as a protection mechanism. And so that is one thing. And the fins are used to balance and also for swimming purpose. And also they're having gills Gills, yes, as you said, karamal කියන්නත් පුළුවන්. So another word is jalakloma. Jalakloma කියන්නත් පුළුවන්. Both are used for actually why respiration purpose, not lungs. It's having this gills. And as I said this last week also, they're having eyes without eyelids, right? But we all have eyelids, no? Asipi abita තියෙනවා, right? Eyelids. Why? Because to cover. And so because our eye, so when we like if you open your eye forever without moving the eyelids, then your eye will become dry. But these animals, especially these fishes or fishers, they are not having that issue because they are in water. No? Their eyes will not get dry because they are in the waterly environment. So they are in a wet environment. So they don't need eyelids, right? Because they will not get that issue. But for us, it's not, because we are exposed to the air and dry climate. And if we don't have eyelids, so it is dangerous. So we are adapted according to this terrestrial environment, whereas these fishes, they are adapted to this water or this wet environment, right? Okay, so let's write down this important point quickly. So write down the main heading. Main heading is vertebrates. And under that you can write fishes. The first category is fishes. You can say pieces. Actually, pieces are this is the phylum, this is the subcategory, and so under that actually what we the animals that we categorize are fishes. These are aquatic. Aquatic means in water, and they have scales, gills. What more? I missed two things. Fins, another thing. So only remember the important words. Scales are there. Gills are there for breathing. Yes. Fins are there for swimming. Invariably streamlined body is there for swimming. Fins are actually for balancing as well. Okay, so let's write down this. I'll give the other two. First of all, write down this. The main heading is what? The main heading is vertebrates, right? Vertebrates.
Vertebrates.
And also one thing I couldn't mention, they are cold-blooded. Cold-blooded means they are actually the temperature, the body temperature will be vary according to the environment temperature, right? When environment temperature change, the inside the body, the temperature will also be changed. Unlike us, for us that is not there, because like let's say we are in very cold environment like Nuvarelia, still our body temperature will be hot. So we are called hot-blooded animal. Mammals are hot-blooded, but these fishes, they are basically cold-blooded, right? Okay, so that is also additional point. So additional points you can say, okay, write down this. An additional point is cold-blooded. That means temperature inside the body will change according to the environment. Body temperature changes according to the environment. So they are cold-blooded, right? That is one point that you need to write. And they're having fins. I'll write down that as well. Y for swimming and balancing. For swimming and balancing, fins are there. These are additional points. Please write down quickly. Fishes, aquatic, scales, prevent over like sorry, scales present over the skin outside the body. Respiration is done through gills. The cold-blooded means the temperature varies according to the environment. They're having fins. Why? For swimming and balancing. One thing missing was that invariably streamlined body shape. Yes, invariably streamlined body shape. Why? It is also for swimming, to move through the water, swimming through the water.
Finish, sir.
Please add that also, right? So last point, like they're having invariably streamlined body.
Okay.
That's the point. Okay, you can see here. Invariably streamlined body. Invariably streamlined body. So please add that point, or you can just let me write. Invariably streamlined body. Again for swimming, right? Having eyes without eyelids, that is also a point. Sorry, having eyes without eyelids. Okay, that is about fish aquatic. Finish.
Yes, sir.
Right, let's move to the next one. Okay, so that is about these fishes. So let's move to the next category. That is amphibia, amphibians. Amphibians can live, they are also in the wet environment, but part of their life cycle, right? Part of their life cycle they spend in terrestrial environment, some wet terrestrial environment, and other part of some part, like in the beginning, so they live in the water. So therefore they are called amphibians. Actually, they are hybrid. Why they are hybrid? They can live in water as well as they can live in the terrestrial environment, right? Part of the life cycle in water and the other part in the earth surface, like terrestrial environment, the soil, right? Frog, toad. So may I know the difference of frog and toad? Both look same. So what's the difference? Frog and toad. Can you tell the difference between frog and toad? Sanidhi?
Yes.
Frog and toad. In Sinhala, we can call Gemba Saha Media. So what's the difference? Frog and toad. Have you seen both or only frogs or what do you think?
I see both, sir.
All right. So then what is the main difference? Can you recognize them separately?
No idea, sir.
Right, no idea. Right, okay. So that's this different is Pute. Frog is basically, so you can see they are like having short, so which has like short legs. Frog or toad. By looking at the image, you can tell. Okay, if it is not clear, let me show another image. Frog or toad. And frog and toad. Okay, now. Oh, there are stories. Was okay. Here, this explains everything, but just get an idea, right? Frog is like legs, and so you can see they are having long legs, so they can jump from one place to another place. Actually, they can jump long distances because of these long legs, right? Because of the long legs, they can jump from one place to another place very soon, quickly, and having long legs. But toads, basically they hop. They hop means like pana pana again, podda 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 podda, or maybe they walk, right? They hop or just so. But frogs, they don't want. They can move from one place to another place easily. So that is, and their skin is also smooth, right? Their skin is smooth, and here actually, so this is hop movement, but mostly the hop movement actually here crawl movement. So that is hop movement කියන්නේ පැනලා එක තැනකින් තව තැනකට යන්නේ වේගෙන් පැනලා ඈතට. So that is hop movement. Crawl movements means like they are, you know, the crocodiles and all, they can hop but not long distances because they are having short legs. That's the reason, right? Actually, so here this image, it is not given. What do you think about their habitat, living environment? Who are in the wet environment mostly, and like which category in the wet environment, which category in so both categories are in wet environment, but which prefer more wet environment? Is it frog or toad?
Frog.
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 Yes, because like their skin is smooth, no? Their skin is smooth and always it is wet. So they need to live at least closer to a water source. So mostly in water, but they need to live at least close proximity. So closer to a water source, but toads actually their skin is a bit dry and bumpy. So they can even live in the terrestrial environment without having what, but their skin is also wet, not that much. So, but the frog has more wet. Frog is living in waterly environment or wet environment, right? That is another thing. Now I think you can recognize them. And again, frog is slim and toad is fat. So that is also one thing, but not mostly. But generally, you can say frog is slim and toad is fat, right? Gemba saha media, right? I think now you can recognize them separately, right? Here, this image also clearly show. Here you can see the dry skin, but here it has wet skin, right? Okay, so that is one thing. And another thing. Let's move to the frog, toad, salamanders, ichthyopis. Ichthyopis in Sinhala we call ichthyopis කියනවා පණුගෙම්බා කියලාත් කියනවා. But that is, I don't know, that is a very good term or not. But so in English, so it's easy to remember the English name. It is ichthyopis and salamander. So these are also category of amphibians. Actually, why they are called amphibians? Part of the life cycle is in water, right? Part of the life cycle is in water. That's why amphibians. And so here, these are the important points. Actually, they undergo metamorphosis. Metamorphosis means in Sinhala Rupantaranaya, means like they are changing from one shape to another shape, as well as the environment from one environment to another environment. Because, you know, frog has a life cycle. In the frog's life cycle, So in one stage, so these little ones, they basically used to swim in water and live only in the water and like water surface or maybe water source, because they can't come out and live. They will die. So that is called metamorphosis. Basically, they have one shape, one stage, different shape, and the another stage in the another different stage. So that is called metamorphosis. And also they are having like thin skin, and it is moisture. It's moist and granular. Right, granular means like it has a lot of like it can emit different liquids. Basically, these liquids are like hormones like thing, enzymes. So they are, it's kind of a granular, so it has different. So we also have some, not most, but we also have some. It's not fully granular, but somewhat granular. So, but their skin is more granular than us. And you cannot see any scales in the skin, unlike the fishes. And so they have limbs, basically the back limbs for locomotion, so change in location from one place to another. And also they are using lungs for respiration purpose, and also they can respirate through the wet skin. Actually, frog can take oxygen from water. Even when it's in the water, it can get the oxygen which is in the water. Oxygen can be there in water as well as in the air, both. No, so this frog can absorb oxygen from water even. And they are even doing that using mouth. They have many sources: lungs, wet skin, mouth. All of these it can use for respiration purpose. Okay, let's write down the important points about that. Okay, so please write down amphibia. The features are basically they live in water and the land both. It's slimy and slippery skin. They are also cold-blooded, right? They are also cold-blooded. That means their body temperature is changing. Now you know that body temperature is changing based on the environment. So cold-blooded. These are the categories. Please write down that. The additional features not listed here, so which are there in the book. So you can say they are undergoing metamorphosis. Metamorphosis means, so part of the life cycle they spend on water, and the other part of the life cycle they spend on Earth's surface. So, and also they're changing their shape. So we can identify them as two different animals. So actually this metamorphosis they are in butterflies also. Hope you can remember. So we just saw that, right? Butterfly. So butterfly also has, it also has this metamorphosis. Metamorphosis means one stage you can see caterpillar. At one stage after egg, they are then the caterpillar. So we treat caterpillar as a different animal, right? But after this chrysalis, right? After chrysalis, so then the adult is a butterfly. So we treat butterfly as a different animal. So similar to that, so if you analyze frog, it also has two clear stages. So one stage is, you can see this. This is like we treat this stage actually. This is tadpole. So tadpole we treat as a different animal. Isgedia කියලා කියන්නේ tadpole. We treat that it as a different animal, but when it comes a frog, we treat as a different animal. So it also shows this metamorphosis. And not only this is not only a feature unique to amphibians. This feature was there in arthropoda also. Arthropoda is like they are not having backbone, right? They are invertebrates. We discussed week before last week. They are invertebrates and they are also having this metamorphosis. Okay, please write down the additional point. They undergo metamorphosis and no scales in the skin. No scales in the skin. Scales තිබ්බනේ අරගොල්ලන්ගේ කොරපොතු. But here you cannot see any scales in amphibians, and also they undergo metamorphosis. Okay, I hope you written. So the next is Reptilia. Reptilia in Sinhala we call Uraga. Right, Reptilia. So this type actually, so they are in the terrestrial environment. They are not in, so sometimes actually they are not living there. That is not their habitat, but they can swim. But they can swim. That is additional ability. Even like a human beings, we can also swim. No, that is our additional capability. Similar to that, reptiles also can swim, but mainly they are adapted to the terrestrial environment. Go to be mind. So there are like lot of categories, lot of animals that we see in the world in day-to-day life. Tortoise, turtle, right? Tortoise, ibba, casbah, tortoise, turtle, cobra, snake like cobra, python. So python is a programming language as well as Python. It's like first Python was assigned, like Python is, you call, that is a type of snake, right? And viper, you can see here, Pimburasa polanga, right? Then trait, lizard, monitor, right? And iguana, crocodile, right? These animals belongs to this reptilia category. So you can see the crocodile and all, they are living in the, like they are living in lakes and all. They can swim. But mainly they are adapted to the terrestrial environment. Their life cycle they spend in the terrestrial environment, but they can swim. They can find their meals by swimming, right? Their nutrition. So sometimes they get it from water-based environment, right? That is this is one feature. Okay, so let's write down about that. And so they are having a dry skin with mostly they have scales, right? Scales. So some are like really visible, but some are slightly visible, but actually no glands in the skins. So that is another special thing, no glands in the skin, but we also have some glands in the skin, right? Use limbs for locomotion. Gatra කියලා කියන්නේ here. So they are using limbs for locomotion, but not all, right? So some crocodile, tortoise, they can use limbs for locomotion, but so some are limbless. Here they are adapted for crawling. So this limbless cobra, viper, they used to crawl. And so they are respirating through lungs. They are not respirating through the skin. They are not using mouth. They are basically using lungs, right? So those are the specialties of Reptilia group. So let's write down the main points. Reptiles. Okay. So the special points here, you can write down these things. Yeah, I think better write down. So here also you can see the special features. They are also cold-blooded, right? So remember that they are also cold-blooded. Now we learn 3 categories, cold-blooded, 3 categories. So amphibians are cold-blooded, fishes are cold-blooded, and reptiles are also cold-blooded. They also legs, right? Legs, and they are cold-blooded. They are using dry skin. Actually, they don't have any glandular skin. They are not having glands in their skin. So, but they are using scales or plates. Here you can see the plate. It can be plates or scale. So these points you can write down. I think this is shorter. The additional point then we can write down, right? This is not in the order, but still you can write down this one valid point. The legs, and so take care of themselves after hatching. So they are having dry skin. Actually, here you can say no glands. No glands in the skin. 2. Okay, other points I'll move to the next slide. So please write down these things. Cold-blooded, they lay eggs. They take care of themselves after hatching these eggs. They have dry protective skin with the scales or plates and no glands. Let me know after you write. I'll move to the next. Here also you can see some additional points. Cold-blooded, I think you hope, I hope you wrote that. They can crawl or they can walk. Here breaths through lungs. So that is also a special point. Let's move to the book, and I'll underline the special point. You can learn respiration through lungs. Please write down that. Limbs for the locomotion, and so limbless are adapted for limbless. So please write down the important point. Limbs for the locomotion. Limbless are adapted for crawling, right? Limbs for the locomotion and limbless are adapted for crawling and respiration through lungs. That is about reptilia or reptiles. Okay, these are basically these are scientific wordings. Reptilia, aves, mammalia. So you have to remember these categories. The first category we learn is species, then amphibia, then reptilia, then aves, and finally it will be mammalia. That is us. In future grades, you need to learn more details about these subcategories.
Finish, sir.
Okay, let's move to the next subcategory, the fourth one, that is aves. Right? So it is also very easy to recognize because they have unique features, so they can fly. But there are some birds who cannot fly, right? So there is a movie also, some birds cannot fly. So anyway, still you can see, so they are adapted, the adaptation for flying, that is wings, right? They have basically 2 wings. So why? Because they are adapted for flying, but here there are some, you can see, ostrich, cassowary, emu, rhea, penguin, they are having those features, but kiwi, they're having the features, but they can't fly, right? So anyway, they are adapted for flying, right? So we cannot say that they all are flying. They are adapted for flying, right? So, but there are some categories. Sometimes in the examination, this can be asked. So who cannot fly? List the aves category or the birds who cannot fly. So then you have to remember these names. Okay, let's learn about their characteristics too. These are some actually types of snakes. I wanted to describe that, but I'll skip for today, right? So the characteristics, actually, they also lay eggs. They have a beak, right? They have a beak, not unlike us, we have teeth and all, mouth, no, but they have a beak, right? So they breathe with lungs, similar to us. They are covered with feathers. Pihatu. They are covered with feathers and they have 2 feet and 2 wings. 2 feet and 2 wings. And actually some birds have like web feet. Web feet means their feet is like connected. So some frogs are also having the same thing. No? So when they have, let's say these are the fingers, example, right? These are the fingers. These fingers are connected like this. That is for swimming purpose. You can see here. That is called web feet. That is used for swimming. Ducks and swans are using that. Most of the birds can fly, but so penguins, ostriches, kiwi, so those birds cannot fly. Okay, let's write down these categories about characteristics about birds. Quickly write down. Right. So then we can finish the lesson. That's why I'm moving quickly. But we have more to discuss. More bird types and all. Rhea here, actually, Rhea and penguin, those birds, or an ostrich, they can't fly, right? So you know the others are really flying these days. Okay, then let's come to the category that we belongs to. All of you and me, all of us belongs to this final category of mammals. Right, whales, bats, you can see different. So some are in water, some are in the terrestrial environment, right? But they are having a common category, common characteristics. That's why they are categorized under mammals. Like all of the previous groups we categorize according to their habitat, no, they are living environment. That is how we categorize. But mammals, basically we are categorizing mammals into one group, considering, right, considering some other features. The main feature is the females. They are having they have milk to feed their young or their kids, and they are basically they also take care of their youngs. And mammals are warm-blooded. Another thing, mammals are warm-blooded, and that means based on the environment, their blood temperature or body temperature is not changing. So they have some, like, so if it is too high, we call that fever. If it is too low, sometimes it is a dangerous situation where even so some dizziness, even it can go to unhealthy situations and even death. So we have some, it's a range of temperature that is maintained inside the body. So we are warm-blooded animals. Right, and also let's see what is there in the book. Okay, here this is the main category, mammals. Mammals are animals feed on mother's milk. Right, the female basically breastfeeding to the kids. Man, rat, loris, orangutan, gorilla, chimpanzees, whale, dolphin, stag, deer. These are some examples. Don't think about the habitat because dolphin in living in water, gorilla living in trees, jungle. Man, we are living in like terrestrial environment. So no need to worry about the habitat, but these mammals, so basically they have mammary glands. That's why they are called mammals. Mammary glands in singular we call Stana Granthi. Basically, they can feed their children, right? That is why this. And here, as I said that glandular skin is there in us also. So basically, the sweat glands. So that is why we are sweating, right? When the environment is hot, we feel sweating, right? And also this sebaceous glands. Sebaceous glands as near sweat gland. So these things are there. So our skin also kind of glandular, and not just that. So it's having some hair. For that is for the protection purpose and keep the warmth. And so we are, in addition to that, ear with ear lobe, competi. So other animals, they are not having that feature. So we have ear with ear lobes. And also, so this is common for some other categories having lungs. So let's write down the features about mammals. So this mammary glands and yes, mammary glands, sweat glands, sebaceous glands, and the hair you need to write. So let's move to the other things which is listed here. So please write down this about mammals. So the other 2 points are, so as you can see in your book, has mammary glands. Mammary glands very important. That is how the mammals depends on the baby mammal depend on the mother's milk. Right, the baby mammals, they are depending on mother's milk. So why the mother should have mammary glands to feed them. And also they are having wet skin, not wet skin actually, they are having glandular skin, so which has sweat gland and sebaceous glands. And also hair. The skin, it is, they are having hair. That is also a protection mechanism. It's preventing you from drying and also preventing, actually keeping the warmth inside the body. So that is why, so when you see like some mammals which are like some mammals who are in this northern and southern part of the world, basically, so which is covered up with glaciers, and also it is too cool. So it's going like negative Celsius temperatures are there, but still these mammals are living. How? Because they have hairy body. This hairy skin is protecting their internal temperature. Right? This hairy skin is protecting their internal, because they are warm-blooded. So all other animals, they are cold-blooded. So we learn all other categories we learned previously, but this category is warm-blooded. Okay, I hope you have finished. Or still doing?
Finish, sir.
Finish. Okay, let's go back and see the summary now. We have started. And mammals, as you know, warm-blooded, and birds, I couldn't tell. Birds are also warm-blooded. Birds, mammals, warm-blooded. But other animals, reptiles, amphibians, and fishes, basically, they are cool-blooded. That mammals and birds, warm-blooded. Right, then we discuss about, this is a summary. You can take a snapshot later, write down. This is a summary that we have learned by now. So there are some important points. Okay, for today, I'll stop the discussion with this. I'll wind up with this. And next day, we'll be discussing the question and answers related to this lesson. And we'll start the new lesson. Then good night. See you all next week.
Good night, sir. Thank you, sir.
Bye.